The Post follows Katharine Graham, played by Meryl Streep, the publisher of the Washington Post, who suddenly finds herself in possession of documents which would prove that the US government covered up secrets relating to the Vietnam War. She then puts together a team led by Brent Bradley, the Post's editor, played by Tom Hanks, to publish the story before their rivals, the New York Times.
That's about the shittiest idea I've ever heard.
The Post originated as a screenplay by Liz Hannah. In October 2016, Amy Pascal managed to bid for the rights to it, and by February the following year, Spielberg was working on the kidnapping of Edgardo Mortaro. But after some casting issues, he cancelled the project and he was now available to look for other films to take on. As soon as he read the first draft of the screenplay, he claimed this wasn't something that could wait 3 years or 2 years. This was a story I felt we needed to tell today. Spielberg urged to get the movie released as quickly as possible, as it was still relevant due to the fake news that was being spread across the United States at the time. He immediately signed on to direct and produce, but because he was a madman, he worked on this at the same time as the subsequent Ready Player One. Writing was even still going on by Josh Singer just 10 weeks before filming was due to begin.
Oh gosh.
However, of course, controversy arose as many of the individuals involved with the Pentagon Papers case in real life objected to the production, mainly due to the film not emphasizing enough on the New York Times' involvement in breaking the story. The film shows the New York Times breaking the Pentagon Papers, but focused more on the Washington Post's involvement in the case thereafter. Outrageous.
What the hell?
Filming began on May the 30th, 2017 in New York City and was released on December the 22nd that year. I'm beginning to think that Spielberg's issues have just resorted to him trying to fill that empty void in his life with a cinematic Christmas present every year.
Did not know that.
On a budget of $50 million, The Post ended up earning a worldwide total of $179.8 million, making it a huge hit, and it was incredibly well received by the public, even being nominated for a Best Picture Academy Award, as well as Meryl Streep for Best Actress, but both walked away empty-handed.
Sorry.
Of course it starts with the Vietnam War, because apparently Spielberg has just run out of devastating historical events to adapt. Before we cut to the bedroom of your average conspiracy theorist.
I feel concerned about paragraph 6, which gives authority to control general elections in Vietnam.
There are a lot of long takes early on in the film, but they seem really out of place. It's like Spielberg was just experimenting with bringing them back or something. I will say that this film just isn't for me. There's a lot of talking going on, and I don't find it particularly interesting. It's just a lot of very boring talking.
If you want this to be more than a little family paper, it has to be more than a little family business.
I will say, as one of the few individuals who could probably cozy up to communist China without fear of major political costs.
Well, I've never smoked a cigar, and I have no problem holding Lyndon or Jack or Bob or any of them accountable.
That a number of their institutional investors will pull out if you go ahead and publish.
Did you get the study from the same source as the Times?
I mean, this guy clearly looks like someone trying to audition for Clark Kent, and it stars the bad guy from Billy Madison. I'm just running out of things to talk about. The movie's really dull. Alright, there is an interesting scene as they go through all of the paperwork, and Tom Hanks does give it his absolute all as he always does, and Streep also delivers. It's supposed to be like The Social Network as they're putting it all together, but it's just boring.
She says we publish.
It's a movie about Post! That's it really. There's not a lot to say. It's just a boring, uninteresting film. And it wasn't for me. I'm sorry. Sorry if you're disappointed and you wanted a longer take on this, but that's it. It's a film. It's a film.